If you are currently leveling up your Django and Postgres skills with this tutorial, you might like to know that this tutorial is part of a whole playlist where you will learn how to, with Django and Postgres, create database level constraints and triggers. If you like this playlist and you would like to learn more about Django ORM, then do check out our Django ORM Mastery course on Udemy. Links to the playlist and course can be found in the video description. Right, so with all that setup now completed, let's get started. Exercise 1, Postgres database setup. Right, so first of all, we're going to create a new PostgreSQL Docker container. So in this tutorial, we'll create a new container, set up everything we need for a basic PostgreSQL setup, and go ahead and build the container and just test it out and familiarize ourselves with starting, removing containers in the Docker environment. Now, I have already explained previously Docker Compose, files, and Docker. So if you missed that tutorial, just head back to the previous tutorial, which was the installation and setup and first steps Docker. I think the 5th tutorial in this series, in this module, rather. So let's first of all go into our project here. Let's create a new file. So we're going to build a new file here on the root. We're going to call this Docker Compose. This is going to be a YAML file. If you're not familiar with YAML files, a YAML file is a text file that uses the YAML format, which is a human-readable data serialization standard, often used for configuration files and data exchange between languages and different data structures. Right, so we're going to, in this Docker file, describe the services and settings that are going to be needed to actually start a Postgres database. So we're creating a multi-container service here, or a multi-container project. Now, typically what happens when we actually run the Docker Compose file, build all our services, Docker looks at the project folder and then utilizes that as the Docker project stack name. And I'll point that out shortly, but basically it's just going to use your folder, project folder name. And that isn't necessarily always the best thing. So what we can first do is just name our project. So let's call this Django Commerce, or whatever you like, Django Inventory. I'm going to call this Django e-commerce. Right, so that's the name that's going to be utilized by Docker to name the stack or project with all the containers once we start the containers in Docker. Right, so now we need to define our services. Really simple. So first of all, let's give a name to the first service. So let's call this the inventory database. So needless to say, this service is going to set up the Postgres database. Now, if you remember, I explained that the Docker file, the other file that we can utilize to manage and create Docker containers ultimately, this file is used for creating the image, creating all the settings in the image that we might want to change, etc. Before we utilize then the Docker Compose file, which then essentially starts that image as a container. So we're not going to use a Docker file for now, but we can still supply in the Docker Compose file, we can still supply some of the setup that's needed. And one of those settings is obviously going to be creating or identifying what image we want to use to actually start our container. So let's specify our image. Now, if you remember, I already introduced Docker Hub to you. This is where all the official images are stored, which we can download. So we just need to identify which version of Postgres we want to install. So just zoom in a little bit, you can see that it looks like the current version as of recording here of Postgres is 16, maybe 0.3. There is a beta 17, but I reckon the most stable version is probably going to be around about here, 16.3. So we'll go ahead and we're going to use a slimline version of this. So it's going to be less of a download and it's going to provide all the features that we need. So we're going to use this Alpine version here, 16.3 Alpine 320. So that's what we're going to be using right over here. So like I said, the Alpine version of Docker image refers to a minimal Docker image built on the Alpine Linux. So let's specify Postgres. So Alpine is typically kind of security orientated, lightweight, it's compact and efficient. It makes it a good choice for creating Docker images where you're looking for a small footprint. So ours was 16.3, Alpine 3.20. Okay, so that's the image that we're going to download and utilize and start our container. Right, so we're going to be building a container from this image. So we can specify, we don't have to, but we can specify a container name. That just makes it a lot easier for us to identify what we have done and what we are doing. So I'm going to call this again inventory DB. That's going to be the name. Now I've already made a mistake here. Apologies. Looking ahead. So we just need to tab that across. So we have services tabbed. So we have services, then inventory DB, the name of the service tabbed, and then we have the specifications of this service. And that's obviously now you can see tabbed. So it's important to make sure that you have tabbed this correctly, otherwise it won't work. Right, so that's container name. Right, so we now need to think about some environment settings. So first thing that we need to do is set the Postgres user. So these are some mandatory settings. Now, if you're not too sure what you need to supply, all you need to do is take a look at the documentation on Docker Hub, and that will give you all the information regarding what is required in order to get this working, or any image working correctly. So let's just go for Postgres for now. We will make some changes later to this, but there's two settings that we're going to need to supply initially: Postgres user, Postgres password. So we just set that to Postgres for now. Let's just get things working, familiarize ourselves with what we're doing, and then we can make some changes. Right, so when we start this service, we're going to need to supply some ports. Now, you might remember when we explained Docker that the container is encapsulated within Docker. You can't actually access it from your computer unless you start to open the doors, the ports that are going to allow you to actually access this service externally from Docker. So we have obviously our computer, right? So this is our computer. Inside of our computer, eventually we're going to have Docker. So this is Docker running inside of our computer. And then inside of Docker, we're going to create a new container from the image, the Postgres image, and that's going to be our Postgres container. So obviously, outside of the Docker environment, we're developing our application. So here we have our Django application that we're developing. Now, when we run our Django application, remember we run our application on 127.0.0.1 and then colon, say 8000. So typically when we start the Django server, that's how we access Django. So now we're moving to Postgres database. We are obviously going to want to connect our Django application to our Docker Postgres container. Now to do that, we need to have some sort of door or way of actually accessing that container, because by default, we won't be able to. So ports is how we're going to do that. If you're not familiar with network ports, think of them as endpoints used for communication between devices over the network. So typically we have ports ranging from 0 to around about 65,535. So each port number is associated with a specific service or protocol. So for example, HTTP on the internet will be utilizing typically port 80. When we use the secure version, we're using port 443. So we can use these ports to direct traffic to services. Right, so when we run our Postgres database, by default, it's listening on port 5432. There we go. So Postgres by default, we can change this, but we won't at this point. When it runs in this container, it's listening for data on port 5432. So any data that's sent to this container, Postgres database is eventually going to pick up that request or data because it's listening on this port. So what we need to do is we need to tell our computer anything we send to port 5432, we're going to forward that across to our Docker container, and then we know that Postgres is looking and inspecting any data on that port number. So what we're going to do is we're going to map port 54. Let's do this. We're going to map port 5432 on our computer across to our container. So 5432. So like I said, when we set up our Django settings to connect to our database, it will know to send it to this port. So our computer will look for that port number and then send it across to our Docker container. So that's all the configuration we need to get our Postgres database started. Now you will find a number of commands inside the docs commands folder if you download the repository source code for this course. So let's go ahead and think about the first command that we're going to be utilizing. So this is docker compose. So we need to get this all working now. So we're going to run docker compose in the terminal shortly. There's loads of settings here, and I will continually add commands to this file as we work through them. But in order for us to actually download the image now and get the container started, we can simply use the command up. So that's going to build anything that needs building, if there are any images that need building, and then that's going to actually bring up the container. So let's give that a go to start off with. So I just copy and paste that into the terminal, and it says not found docker compose. Maybe the problem we have here is that I have accidentally, incorrectly told you the wrong command. So docker space compose up. And there we go. So what's happening now, you can see that the image is being pulled down from Docker Hub. That'll take a few seconds, and then it's going to start the container. Now, while it starts the container, it's going to inspect our Docker Compose file, and it's going to utilize the information that we've supplied it here, the environment variables, Postgres user and password, to actually set up a Postgres user and password, and then start the Postgres service. So now we've given it a couple of seconds to do that. If we go now back into Docker Desktop, we can now see in images, we have the Postgres image, the version that we've supplied in the Docker Compose file. And then if we have a look at the containers, we now have our project, our multi-container project. Obviously, we only have one container at the moment, but you can see that it's been named how we specified in our Docker Compose file, Django e-commerce, and we have our container, which we have also named inventory DB. So green just tells us that everything is working fine. If you have any other colors, maybe you need to inspect the Docker Compose file. Maybe you've indented it incorrectly and such. But green here indicates that everything is working okay. The status is running, which is great. And we can inspect the logs. And then you can see here the ports indicate this is running on port 5432, or it's mapped across to 5432. That's the default Postgres port. Now that we have our database service running, it can be useful to have some sort of graphical user interface for us to interact with our Postgres database. Now we can use the command line, log in, make changes, make the database and so on, but it's just a little bit more convenient for us to have some sort of graphical user interface for us to manage, administrate our databases. So we can go ahead now and create a new service in this multi-service setup. So let's install. Initially, we're going to be utilizing AdMiner, which is a really lightweight graphical user interface for us to interact with our Postgres database. Now, the most popular interface is probably pgadmin, but we're not going to use that just yet. We will migrate to that later, but while we're learning, making mistakes, AdMiner is nice and lightweight. It's going to be nice and easy for us to navigate around and make some changes that we're going to potentially need to do. So here we're going to need the image, and you can inspect this. I'll leave you to that on Docker Hub, but it's called AdMiner. We need to we can set up restart. That's something we didn't do on our database, so we can supply that. So this is a setting. Imagine if our database fails for some reason, we want it to start again. It's important. So we have this restart option. So Django always tries to restart the service should there be any issues or problems or failures. It would always try and restart the service. So we supply that. Here, AdMiner uses a different set of ports. So that's going to be 8080 by default. And map that across to properly 8080. There we go. So that's the ports open. That's how we're going to access via the browser this service. And there we go. Right, so now we can go ahead and start our container again, But this time, obviously, we've supplied adminer, so that should now be downloaded and started as a container. Now, what you probably noticed is the previous command, we're still locked in to our Docker container. And you can see that we have all the information related to starting the previous container, the Postgres database container. So what we're looking at here is the terminal, if you like, of our Postgres container. Now, that isn't always necessarily what we want to see in our terminal. So we have a few options here. So I'm going to press Control-C to close that and just quickly show you a different way. Right, so if you use Docker Compose up, that means all of the output in our container is going to appear in our terminal. But we want to free up our terminal so we can continue developing. So we don't want all that information here in our terminal. So we're going to use the D flag. This stands for detach mode. So when we run our container with the D flag, it runs in the background, and returns control to our terminal. And that allows us to continue using it and perform other tasks. If we do want to have a look at the output of any container, we can simply just go into the container and then have a look at the logs here, and that will then supply us with all the information we need if there are any issues or any other problems that we might want to debug. Right, so let's perform the same task again with the D flag. Now we have two services, so we'll go ahead and download adminer. You may have already noticed I've already done that to speed things up. So you can see mine starts almost immediately. Yours will take a few seconds to download the adminer before it starts. So that's all started. Notice now that we still have the terminal because we used the D flag. So let's go back into our containers and you can now see that we have two containers. Right, so everything is nice and green, indicating it's working okay. So now we need to open up the terminal, port 8080. Right, so in a new browser window, you're going to type in 127.0.0.1, obviously .0.0.1, 8080. You might just be able to see that up the top there. And that's going to take you then to the adminer login page. So here you're going to select Postgres database. You'll need your username and password, which we set up in the Docker Compose file, and the server name. Right, so if we go into Docker here, we can see that our service has a name of inventory_db. If we take a look at our code, our service name is called inventory_db. So that's what we can now utilize as the actual server name. So at this point, we don't need to specify any IP addresses or anything like that. Just use the service name, press login, and there we go. So we're now logged into our Postgres database. You can see that we have a table here called Postgres. And there we go. Right. So we've now created a new container for Postgres and a graphical interface for us to administrate our databases. So do spend a little bit of time starting, stopping services, have a play around in adminer. Of course, you can't make any mistakes here, because if you do, then all you need to do is delete the containers. Now you can delete the whole stack if you like, or individual containers, and just go ahead and start again. So run the commands, run the new containers, and that will then default it back to where you were before. Now, if it doesn't do that, it's because, remember, of volumes. So specifically with a Postgres database, the likelihood is that if you started it again, it would use the same volume and have all the same information. So if you do delete your containers, do just make sure that you delete any volumes that is created when you built the containers. That just removes any data that might be stored, that might be used if you bring the containers up again, and that pretty much resets you back to the start, so you can go ahead and start the new containers again, have a play around. At this point, it's well worth just familiarizing yourself with everything that's here that we've done so far. The better you understand this process, the easier it's going to be for you to follow along with the other tutorials.